Welcome to the era of Google Analytics 4. The previous version of Analytics, or Universal Analytics, is now no longer collecting data in Google. You can think of it as an entirely different platform from Google Analytics 4, in fact, because it basically is. And since Google Analytics 4 is now the new default analytics property, you might be wondering how tracking your numbers is going to look going forward. So how different are Google Analytics 4 and Universal Analytics, and what does the new analytics dashboard actually look like? What business numbers should you track and why? Please stay tuned to the end of this video because I'm going to be answering all of these questions and more. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more information about business metrics and Google Analytics. If you're new here, my name is Carrie and I help businesses with messy metrics clean them up so they can have accurate information at their fingertips for easy decision making. First, let's recap what Google Analytics 4 actually is. As I mentioned in the intro, it's the newest default version of Google Analytics. But did you know that it was actually introduced by Google in late 2020? Yeah, it's actually been around for that long. Since Google Analytics 4 took over on July 1st, Google stopped supporting Universal Analytics. This means that you no longer have any data being collected on that platform, or the data flow will be turned off very, very soon. They may share the Google name, but it's helpful to think of GA4 and Universal Analytics as two entirely separate platforms because essentially they are. So how are they different from one another? In a nutshell, Google Analytics 4 offers more advanced features and measures data in a very different way. You'll get a glimpse of these differences a little bit later in the video, so be sure to stick around. First of all, Universal Analytics was session-based. User interactions, or hits that took place on a website over a specific period of time, were grouped into sessions. In comparison, GA4 is event-based. This means that any interaction is captured as an event. So things like social interactions or e-commerce hits and page views are all counted as events. With this change, you have so much more flexibility in how to track your user behavior. Second, GA4 has far more robust cross-platform and cross-device tracking capabilities. If you want to know if your users are moving between devices or websites, GA4 makes this much, much easier. The third thing that sets GA4 apart from Universal Analytics is its machine learning capabilities. Please don't be intimidated by the term machine learning. It doesn't mean the robots are taking over. In this case, these capabilities help you to identify trends and insights in your data. Metrics like purchase probability or churn probability, for example, or even projected revenue. This means that you can make more data-driven decisions more quickly and more confidently. GA4 also has more pro-privacy features than Universal Analytics, and the platform simply just looks a lot different than Universal Analytics did. This isn't an exhaustive list of the differences by any means because there are many, many more. So to help you as you navigate this new platform, today I want to take you on a quick walkthrough of what you'll see when you log into your new Google Analytics 4 account and really start digging in. So let's take a closer look at what a GA4 account really looks like. Here is a Google Analytics 4 homepage. We're going to be looking at a demo account here, so we don't need to worry about keeping any numbers confidential, but I really want you to be able to see where to find some of the most important metrics that will help you to make decisions for your particular business. On this homepage, you can see some basic overall tracking numbers, including number of users, event count, the number of new users, the number of conversions, etc. We also can see that there's a side navigation bar, which is similar to what we had in Universal Analytics. We're going to do a quick overview of this particular dropdown, and then we'll circle back with some more detail later on. So next we have the reports page, and here is where you'll get suggested pre-formatted reports that are recommended for your account by Google. Next is the explore page, where you can see deeper insights into your audience's behavior. Google Analytics 4 notably provides a lot more customization to reporting than Universal Analytics did, and you can even create your own visualizations. Next is the advertising section, where the name pretty much speaks for itself. You can evaluate and edit your advertising campaigns here. And then at the bottom left-hand corner, we'll find the admin section. Now let's go back to the report section for a moment because this is where you're going to start finding the most important metrics to track within Google Analytics 4. I recommend starting with these metrics for those who haven't scoped out GA4 yet and kind of aren't really sure where to start. Now, one thing you don't want to do is to track everything because that is a big waste of time. Yes, it's a very easy mistake that you can make with your data. First, we're going to take a look at the acquisition dropdown, and we can see here there's an acquisition overview, there's a user acquisition, and there's traffic acquisition. We're going to come here down to traffic acquisition because this is actually kind of one of the most fun reports that you're going to be able to find within Google Analytics 4. These user numbers are all really important because it helps you to understand how many people are actually visiting and engaging with your site, and also to see where your site visitors are coming from and which actions they're taking once they hit your site. If we scroll down here, there's an excellent chart that we can utilize here. First, I would recommend swapping this out and choosing source or medium. And then also using this plus sign, typing in the word campaign, choosing session campaign. And this gives us a little bit more detail of where our traffic is actually coming from. We can see along here exactly where the traffic comes from in terms of the brand of traffic, which is the source, the type of traffic, which is the medium, and then the campaign, which is why the traffic was being sent to our website in the first place. And then Google provides us with all of these different metrics that we can use here to be able to see how traffic is hitting our site and what they're doing once they actually get there. You can see the number of users, sessions, the number of engaged sessions. As we move along here, even more things like event count, the number of conversions, and total revenue. Now, these last two numbers here are available because this is an e-commerce shop, but there are things that you can do to be able to set up these types of tracking for your own tracking sites as well. There is a goldmine of information in here, especially as you're trying to decide which of your marketing efforts you want to continue with, which ones you want to ramp up, or which ones you want to stop using completely. So make sure you come in here and start digging through and see where your traffic really is actually coming from, and then what they're actually doing when they hit your site. Next, we're going to move over to the engagement section. Let's first take a look at the overview. Here you'll find some metrics such as average engagement time, the number of engaged sessions per user, and the average engagement time per session, as well as your overall view and event count. If we come down next to events, you'll remember that we talked about how within Google Analytics 4, pretty much everything is considered an event. And as we create new events and we can name and really focus in on the ones that are really important to our particular businesses, this is really incredibly valuable information to be able to have. In this particular demo account, you can see here that these are some of the event names that have been set up for this particular account, including page view, engagement, some scroll, viewing items, starting sessions, first visits, etc. And in the next step over here, we also have conversions. So this is helping us to see which of these events are actually considered to be conversions, as well as the amount of revenue that is being brought in by those particular conversions. Again, this is an e-commerce account, so this will be set up a little bit differently if you do not have e-commerce, but this will give you an idea of the types of things that Google Analytics 4 has the capability of tracking. The next option here is pages and screens. And this will help you to see which of your pages are actually receiving the most amount of traffic. You can see here it tracks things such as views, users, engagement time, the number of events that happen on those pages, the conversions that happen there, as well as the total revenue, as well as lots of other different things. Next, we're going to come down to pages and screens. Scroll down, and this will show you the top visited pages on your website, as well as the actions that were taken as a result. So how many different users hit that particular page? How many times was that page viewed? How many views per user took place? As well as things like the event count and the number of conversions that took place on that page as well. This is a really important section to dig into if you're wanting to see how much traffic is hitting individual pages, especially, for example, if you have a funnel that has a sales page and a checkout page. You want to be able to see how much of your traffic is literally moving through that particular funnel. And if you do have a lot of pages on your site, you might see that you have a lot of rows to deal with. You can see in this sample account, there's actually 458 different entries here. So one of the things that you can do is click into this search bar and then type in the page path that you're looking for to really be able to nail down on that one particular page that you're looking for. Next, we have landing page, which is the first page that people land on your site before progressing into the rest of your site. You'll see this is set up very similarly to the pages and screens report as well. The next report section that we have is under monetization. Let's start here with the overview tab. Here, you can see an overall view of how much revenue has been brought in by your website. You can see it's broken down by purchase revenue as well as ad revenue. You can see the total number of purchasers and the number of first-time purchasers, which items have been purchased, as well as the average purchase revenue per user that hits your site. If we move down here to e-commerce purchases, this gets broken down even further. If we scroll down, we can see a chart here that shows us the name of the item, how many times it was viewed, how many times it was added to cart, how many times it was purchased, as well as the revenue itself. Again, if you're an e-commerce seller, this is incredibly valuable information because sometimes it becomes difficult to actually track which items are being purchased most often from our stores. And this does a great job of collecting this information and presenting it in a way that's easy to find. Keep in mind, this does need to be set up properly on your website to make sure that Google Analytics 4 is able to track this data. But once it is set up to track properly, it's amazing the information that you can find in here. Since I know a lot of my viewers do not have e-commerce stores, I'm going to skip over some of these remaining reports and come down here down to users. First, we're going to start off with user attributes, and we're going to choose the overview section. Here, you get to start seeing where your viewers are actually coming from. This is really helpful, especially if you are running paid traffic to any of your offers, to see where your current people are actually coming from. And does that make sense for the type of offer and the type of service or product that you're selling? You can see a breakdown by country, you can see a breakdown by city, by gender, by interest, and also by age, which can really help you as you try to hone in on making sure that your marketing is as effective as it can possibly be for your particular demographic. If we come down to demographic details, we can see even more specific information, including a breakdown by country, and you can swap this out for region, town, city, age, gender, interests, etc. And then it will show you how people from those particular countries or whatever demographic group you chose actually move through your website and what kind of events they go through, if they convert, if they bring in revenue, etc. The final piece down here is tech. We're going to choose the overview here. And here you're able to see what platforms users are using in order to view your website. This is one metric that I think can easily get overlooked in favor of other metrics, but it actually really is very essential. Here you can learn what devices users prefer most when engaging with your site. So are they using mobile, desktop, or tablet? You'll know whether mobile or desktop versions of your web pages should be prioritized first in content and design. So always keep that in mind and make sure that you're designing your site with the most of your viewers, most of your visitors in mind, to make sure that they have an easy experience and they can move through your site efficiently and understand what it is that you're leading them through in the journey through their website. So there you have it, a rundown of the differences between Universal Analytics and Google Analytics 4, plus a quick tour of what your Google Analytics 4 account looks like in case you haven't checked it out yet or you couldn't find the reports that you were looking for. I hope this video helped you to see the changes and the exciting new features available to you within Google Analytics 4. Please stay tuned for my upcoming videos because I'm going to dive deeper into GA4 as well as metrics tracking. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of them. And if you need a refresh on why it's so important to track certain metrics for your business, please check out my video, Making Sense of Business Data. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.